The megacity was a beast of glass and neon, its shadows alive with silent predators. I'd seen my share of trouble, but nothing prepared me for them. They moved like ghosts, their tech shimmering in the rain-slicked streets, their eyes glowing with cold precision. I was their target, or perhaps their unwilling key, and I felt the dangerous current of their efficiency pulling me deeper into the city's dark heart. Knowing escape wouldn't be easy or even desired. My name is Kalen Vance, private detective, X-Street operative, clean for 5 cycles, or so I thought. The megacity, Neo Viridia, was my hunting ground, a sprawling, rain-slicked concrete jungle where corporate towers pierced the perpetually overcast sky and the undercity festered in perpetual twilight. I dealt in secrets, in information, in the dirty truths the core wanted buried. My office was a cramped, scent-stained cubicle overlooking the bustling neon-lit street markets of Sector 7. My life was a steady stream of missing persons, corporate thefts, and the occasional blackmail gig. Predictable. Until tonight. It started with a data chip, a standard snatch and grab from a low-level corporate drone, a simple blackmail job. The chip was supposed to contain evidence of a minor embezzlement. Instead, it held something else, something far more volatile. Encrypted schematics, project code names, and a single, chilling audio file, heavily distorted, but hinting at something vast, something insidious. I didn't know what I had, not fully, but the moment my neural jack made contact, a cold dread seized me. This wasn't just a simple blackmail. This was a corporate crossfire, and I was caught in the middle. My compad buzzed. Not a client. A warning. An anonymous text. Just 3 words. They know. Run. Ambient sound. The distant, rhythmic hum of the mag trains overhead. The incessant hiss of rain on neon signs. The low thrum of the city's power grid. I didn't hesitate. Instinct, honed by years on the streets, screamed danger. I severed my comm link, grabbed my worn trench coat and my silenced energy pistol, and slipped out of my office, melting into the throng of late-night cyberpunks and synth food vendors. The rain was a fine, acid mist, blurring the towering skyscrapers into spectral giants. The air hung thick with the smell of ozone, fried noodles, and the metallic tang of wet concrete. I moved through the labyrinthine alleys, my boots splashing in neon-tinged puddles, my senses on high alert. Every shadow felt alive, every flicker of a holographic advertisement a potential observation point. My internal monologue, usually a fortress of cynical calculation, was a frantic scramble for survival. Who knows? What do they know? What's on this chip? Then I saw them. Not a single operative. A team. 4 of them. And they were not just good. They were perfect. They emerged from the shadows of a narrow alley, a blur of motion, their forms barely visible against the rain-slicked brickwork. Their suits, made of a shimmering, chameleon skin material, subtly shifted color and texture, blending seamlessly with the surroundings, a ripple of brick, a shimmer of wet concrete, a flicker of neon. They moved with a silent, unnatural fluidity, their steps making no sound on the wet pavement. They were exquisitely beautiful, distinctly human-like, but with sleek, functional cosmetic technological enhancements optimized for urban espionage and combat. Their eyes, visible through the rain, glowed with a faint, cold precision, advanced optical implants providing enhanced vision modes. I could almost feel their infrared scans sweeping over me. Their hair, styled for practicality, short, intricately braided, sometimes had integrated LED strips that subtly activated during pursuits, a fleeting streak of light against the blur of their speed. And as they moved, I caught glimpses of subtle cybernetic limbs or joint enhancements, allowing for unnatural flexibility, augmented strength, and that unnerving, silent movement. They radiated a dangerous, dark elegance, a lethal precision that was breathtaking. My blood ran cold. The neon blades. The city's urban legend. The Shadow Syndicate's elite. They were real. And they were after me. The one in the lead, her chameleon skin suit a ripple of shifting gray against the rain, her glowing eyes fixed on me, raised a hand. Her voice, when it came, was a synthesized whisper, cold and precise, yet resonating with an unsettling clarity in my calms, bypassing all my scramblers. "Kalen Vance," she stated, her voice utterly devoid of emotion. "You possess what is not yours. Return it, or be retrieved." My energy pistol, clutched in my trembling hand, felt like a child's toy against their perfected menace. My internal monologue screamed, "They know my name. They know what I have. And they're not playing. What is it you want?" I rasped, my voice tight, trying to buy time. "Irrelevant," the lead operative replied, her glowing eyes unblinking. "The data. Now." Another neon blade, her suit a shimmer of wet black, her eyes glowing with an intense red, moved with impossible speed, a blur of motion, appearing directly behind a street vendor. A faint click, the sound of a hidden blade extending. The vendor didn't even have time to scream. He simply slumped forward, a silent, lifeless heap on his noodle cart, his blood a dark stain on the rain-slicked pavement. My blood ran colder. No struggle. Just gone. Just as the warning text had implied. The third neon blade, her suit a ripple of shifting blue, her glowing eyes fixed on me, raised a sleek, integrated cybernetic arm. A faint hum, the sound of a hidden weapon powering up. My internal monologue screamed, "They're not playing. This is not a warning. This is the hunt." I spun, firing a desperate, wild burst from my energy pistol, not at them, but at a stack of unstable power conduits in a nearby alley. The conduits exploded in a shower of sparks and smoke, plunging the alley into deeper gloom. "Disengage," the lead neon blade commanded, her voice cold, precise. "He is resourceful. We will observe. The chase has just begun." Their forms melted back into the shadows, disappearing as silently as they had appeared. Only the faint hum of their hidden cybernetics, receding into the rain-slicked night, remained. And the chilling perfection of their dark elegance etched into my mind. I was their target, or perhaps their unwilling key, and I felt the dangerous current of their efficiency pulling me deeper into the city's dark heart. Knowing escape wouldn't be easy or even desired. The alleys of Neo-Viridia became my personal labyrinth, a neon-drenched cage where every shadow held a potential threat. The hum of their hidden cybernetics, a phantom vibration in the rain-soaked air, seemed to follow me, even when I knew it couldn't. My internal monologue, a relentless analytical machine, was now a besieged city, its walls crumbling under the weight of escalating paranoia. They know me. They anticipate. They are everywhere. My primary objective shifted from understanding the data chip to simply surviving. I was no longer the hunter. I was the prey, caught in a high-stakes game orchestrated by beings who blurred the lines between human and machine, between predator and ghost. My gear, once my lifeline, felt inadequate against their perfected menace. My energy pistol, its power cells dangerously low, was a mere comfort blanket against the chilling reality of their lethal efficiency. I moved through the sprawling megacity like a rat in a maze, always looking over my shoulder, every flicker of neon a distorted reflection of their glowing eyes, every distant siren a potential signal of their approach. The city, once my hunting ground, now felt like a vast, sentient trap, its very infrastructure conspiring against me. The hum of drones, the clicks of futuristic gear, the distant, distorted voices from compads, all became part of a terrifying symphony orchestrated by the neon blades. My attempts to gather information on them were met with chilling precision. Every data haven I tried to access was already purged. Every contact I tried to reach was either gone or responded with cryptic, terrified warnings before their comm lines went dead. They were not just cleaning up after themselves. They were actively erasing their existence, leaving no digital dust, no human trace. Ambient sound, a sudden, sharp crackle of static from a nearby street vendor's comm screen, followed by a distorted, almost melodic hum that seemed to emanate from the city's power grid. I found temporary refuge in a dilapidated safe house in the Undercity, its walls scarred with gang graffiti, its air thick with the smell of synth smoke and despair. I set up my own surveillance, a network of micro-drones and optical sensors, trying to gain an edge to see them before they saw me. My internal monologue was a constant stream of tactical analysis, trying to predict their next move, trying to find a pattern in their chilling perfection. But they were always a step ahead. One night, as I reviewed the grainy footage from my street-level drone, I saw it. A fleeting glimpse. The lead neon blade. Her chameleon skin suit a ripple of shifting gray, her glowing eyes fixed on the drone's lens. She didn't move towards it. She simply looked, and the drone's feed abruptly cut out, replaced by static. No physical contact. No visible interference. Just a silent, chilling act of digital disruption. They were not just physically present. They were woven into the very fabric of the city's network, its data streams, its surveillance systems. My paranoia escalated, spiraling into a terrifying, all-consuming dread. They weren't just hunting me in the physical world. They were in the network, in my data, in my head. They were the environment. They were the shadows. They were the whispers in the data streams. Ambient sound, a faint, high-pitched whine, like a servo motor directly behind me, quickly fading into a low, resonant thrum. I started questioning everything. Was that flicker of light in the corridor a malfunction, or their enhanced vision implants sweeping the area? Was that distant clatter a falling object, or the silent click of their cybernetic limbs? Was the cold touch on my skin the failing climate control, or their unseen presence brushing past me? The lines between reality and illusion blurred, dissolving into an indistinguishable nightmare. My fascination with them, once a dangerous curiosity, morphed into a chilling obsession. I studied their movements, their synchronized grace, the subtle shifts in their chameleon suits, reflecting the ambient light. They were beautiful, yes, but it was the beauty of a perfectly honed weapon, a terrifying embodiment of technological evolution. And I, the human, was their imperfect prey. I found a fragmented data log from the original Project Chimera, salvaged from a deep web cache. It spoke of advanced neural cybernetic integration, of human subjects undergoing radical augmentation, pushing the boundaries of consciousness and physical capability. It hinted at a collective neural network, a shared consciousness among the augmented subjects, allowing for instantaneous communication, perfect coordination. The neon blades. They weren't just a squad. They were a single, unified mind. A terrifying, beautiful hive. My internal monologue screamed with the horrifying realization. They're not just individuals. They're a collective. A single, silent mechanism. And I'm fighting a ghost that has 1,000 eyes, 1,000 hands, and a single, unified will. The data log ended abruptly with a final, chilling entry. Subject Delta 7. Full integration achieved. Consciousness subsumed. Perfection realized. Project Chimera complete. All assets now under the direct control of the Crimson Syndicate. My blood ran cold. Subsumed. Consumed. They weren't just enhanced. They were something else. And their objective, I realized, was not just corporate espionage. It was assimilation. Perfection. And they were controlled by the Crimson Syndicate, a ruthless, shadowy organization that operated beyond the reach of corporate law. The data chip I carried, it must have contained information vital to the Crimson Syndicate's operations, perhaps even their control over the neon blades. The cat-and-mouse game had just become a fight for my very soul. And the terrifying realization of being utterly alone against an unseen, technologically perfected nightmare was a profound isolation that threatened to shatter my sanity. The Undercity, a labyrinth of decaying arcologies and flickering holographic advertisements, became a claustrophobic tomb. The whispers, once confined to my mind, now seemed to emanate from the very air, from the dripping pipes and the distant hum of overloaded power conduits. You are ours. They hissed, elongated, chilling, resonating in my very bones, a direct assault on my unraveling sanity. My internal monologue, a desperate, fractured scream, clung to the last vestiges of logic. No, not real. Just my mind breaking. Just the isolation. Fight it, Kalen. Fight. But the city continued its torment, a sentient trap, mocking my every attempt at escape. Corridors would twist into impossible geometries, leading me back to where I started, or into dead ends that simply dissolved into shimmering static. Doors would seal shut just as I reached them, only to hiss open behind me, revealing empty darkness, or worse, a fleeting glimpse of the void itself, stars stretching and warping in impossible patterns. The flickering emergency lights intensified, creating a strobe-like effect that disoriented my vision, turning every shadow into a lurking threat, every piece of machinery into a grotesque, silent observer. Ambient sound, a sudden, sharp intake of breath, incredibly close, but no visible source. My own terrified gasp, amplified by my helmet. I was constantly on the run, my body aching, raw, fueled by pure adrenaline and the desperate need to understand. Sleep was a luxury I could no longer afford. Every time I closed my eyes, the alien thoughts, the impossible geometries, would flood my mind, pushing me closer to delirium. Food and water were irrelevant. My body functioned on pure compulsion, driven by the insatiable need to decipher the anomaly. The entity's psychological warfare escalated. I would hear my own name whispered from an empty vent, followed by the faint, distinctive jingle of my grandmother's antique music box. A memory I hadn't thought of in years, meticulously recreated, twisted into a chilling mockery. Then, the scent of fresh-baked bread, a comforting aroma from my childhood, would briefly fill a dark, moldering corridor, only to be replaced by the metallic tang of ozone, decay, and something else, something wet and sickly sweet, like raw meat. My sanity was fraying. I started seeing things. Not just fleeting shadows, but solid forms in my peripheral vision, grotesque, shifting figures, their bodies elongated, their limbs twisted, their faces distended into silent screams. They were the victims of the Crimson Syndicate, the ones who had been subsumed. They would melt into the walls, dissolve into the shadows, leaving behind only the cold dread of their ghostly presence. I would whip my head around, heart hammering, only to find empty space. Was it real? Or was I finally losing my mind? The lines between reality and illusion had blurred into an indistinguishable nightmare. Ambient sound, a low, rhythmic scratching, like nails on glass, slowly approaching from around a blind corner, overlaid with a wet, squelching sound. I found myself in a hidden cyber den, a place where the city's digital underbelly thrived. It was here that I discovered the true nature of the data chip. It wasn't just schematics, it was a counterprogram, a failsafe designed by Elias Thorne himself to disrupt the Crimson Syndicate's control over the neon blades. He hadn't been a victim, he had been a saboteur trying to free them. My fear, already profound, escalated into a terrifying, all-consuming despair. This wasn't just a physical threat. It was an assault on my mind, on my very perception of reality. The enemy didn't just hide. It was the environment, or even a part of my own mind. And the most terrifying aspect was the loss of control over reality, the terrifying realization of being utterly alone against an unseen nightmare. My desperation reached new heights. I had to escape, before I lost myself entirely, before I became just another whisper in the echoing silence of Neo-Viridia. I knew I was close to the Crimson Syndicate's central server, the heart of their operations, the source of the Neon Blade's control. My cynical pragmatism, despite the terror, drove me forward. I had to expose them. I had to free the Blades, even if it meant my own destruction. The path led to a corporate enclave, a gleaming tower of glass and chrome that pierced the clouds. It was a fortress, guarded by layers of automated defenses and human security. But I had a key, the counter-program. I infiltrated the tower, a ghost in the machine, bypassing security systems, slipping through laser grids, my movements precise, silent. The hum of the building's power core was a low, resonant thrum, a counterpoint to the frantic pounding of my heart. And then, I felt them, their presence. Not a whisper this time, not a vibration. A cold, immense pressure surrounding me, pressing in on all sides, like a physical weight. They were here, the neon blades. sent to eliminate me, or perhaps to stop me from unleashing Thorn's counterprogram. The lights in the server farm, a vast, sterile chamber filled with humming data racks, flickered erratically, then stabilized, bathing everything in a stark, cold blue glow. And there they were, 4 of them, their chameleon-skin suits rippling, their glowing eyes fixed on me. Aura, Lyra, Seraphina, and the 4th, Nyx, her short, dark hair with integrated LED strips, her eyes gleaming with an unnerving intensity. They moved with a terrifying synchronization, their sleek, cybernetic limbs silent, their movements impossibly fluid. They were the pinnacle of corporate assassins, their dark elegance a chilling testament to their lethal efficiency. Aura, her sapphire eyes gleaming, raised a hand. Her voice, cold and precise, resonated in my comms. Kalen Vance, your pursuit ends here. The data you carry, it is a threat to our purpose. Surrender it, and your life will be spared. My internal monologue screamed. They're not just controlled. They believe in their purpose. Perfection. Assimilation. Thorn's counterprogram. I projected, my mental voice sharp with defiance. It can free you. From the syndicate. From their control. Lyra, her purple hair shimmering, her glowing eyes narrowing, moved with impossible speed, a blur of motion, appearing directly in front of me. Her cybernetic hand, impossibly strong, closed around my wrist, twisting, threatening to shatter bone. Freedom? We are perfection. We are unity. We are the architects of a new order. The other neon blades moved, their forms converging, cutting off my path to the central server. They were no longer just hunting me. They were preparing for the final assimilation. My heart hammered, a frantic drum against my ribs, ready to burst. My breath hitched, a strangled gasp. The terror was absolute, overwhelming, stripping away all pretense, all sanity. This was the climax, the final confrontation. And the enemy was not just physical. It was intellectual. It was existential. It was the absolute, terrifying loss of control over reality. I was cornered, trapped, surrounded by beings who were both beautiful and terrifying, their perfection a chilling testament to the city's dark heart. My attempts to escape or fight back had been futile. And now, I faced the horrifying realization that I was utterly alone against an unseen nightmare that sought to consume not just my body, but my very essence. My descent into hell was complete. The most terrifying aspect was not what it could do to me, but what it could make me, what it could take from me without a single sound. And the profound isolation was the only comfort left. With a guttural cry, raw and animalistic, I lunged, not at them, but at the central server, the heart of the Crimson Syndicate's control. My body, ravaged by exhaustion and psychological torment, screamed in protest, but my will was unyielding. The neon blades reacted, their forms shimmering, pushing back, a crushing weight that threatened to pin me to the floor. The whispers intensified to a deafening shriek, a cacophony of alien voices that tried to tear my mind apart. My hands, trembling, slammed the data chip into the server's main port. The counter-program activated, a searing wave of digital light that coursed through the network, bypassing firewalls, overriding security protocols, targeting the core of the Crimson Syndicate's control. The neon blades shrieked, a silent, deafening cry that resonated in my mind, vibrating through the entire building. Their chameleon-skin suits flickered erratically, their glowing eyes dimming, their movements becoming erratic, disoriented. The thousand faces, the subsumed consciousnesses, screamed, then dissolved, vanishing into nothingness. The atmosphere in the server farm filled with a cold, desperate roar, as if the very air was being ripped apart. The last thing I saw, before blinding white light consumed everything, was Aura's face, her sapphire eyes wide, no longer glowing with cold precision, but with a flicker of something new. Confusion, perhaps fear, or was it freedom? Then, oblivion. A profound, silent blackness. The resolution was deeply ambiguous and disturbing. I had unleashed the counter-program. The Crimson Syndicate's control over the neon blades was shattered. But the tower itself, its systems overloaded, its infrastructure compromised, began to collapse. I was either consumed by the collapsing building, my end of fiery oblivion, or perhaps I had survived, escaping into the rain-slicked streets, forever changed. But the horror lingered. The whispers. The whispers of the neon blades. They had spoken inside my mind. They had played with my memories. They had tried to assimilate me. What if the counter-program wasn't perfect? What if, in that desperate, final act of connection, a fragment of their collective consciousness, a sliver of their pervasive being, had imprinted itself onto my dissolving mind, carried away on the very wave of energy I had unleashed? My escape from the tower was not a clear victory. It was a terrifying uncertainty. Did I escape? Or did I become a new vessel, carrying the unseen nightmare within me, doomed to a life of escalating paranoia, questioning every shadow, every sound, every whisper in my own mind? The horror was in the lasting psychological impact, the profound scarring of my psyche, leaving the audience with an unsettling question about what was truly real. The final, chilling realization that the enemy might not just be out there, but forever within me, the ultimate loss of control over reality. And the profound isolation was my eternal torment.